All right.
Okay, so this is session number 2 of our PT sessions. Um, we're going to go over your routines, your warm up, your breaks, your cool downs. And then because you did mention you've had that right upper trap issue in the past, and because you wanted to work on your posture a little bit, I also gave you some recommended exercises for the gym, as well as kind of just like a handful of postural exercises that might need some demonstration for them to make sense in like a little picture guide. That's the thing that's linked in it.
Okay.
You'll be able to click on. But let's start by going over your warm up. So for your warm up, I want to start with something broad that gets a whole body warm up and then progresses to hand specific. Um, and for your breaks, I want to make sure that we're managing that anxiety because you mentioned you get like that tournament stress builds up a little bit. And then also I want to make sure that we're keeping your shoulders relaxed given your injury history. And then your cool down, I just want it to be something that really completely lets you relax and kind of shift gears and slow down a whole bunch. So some of these are going to be familiar in terms of things that you might have seen in Normanovas or P-Chan's routines.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are going to be specific to you because there's a bunch of things that everybody can benefit from, and then there's a couple things that you specifically would find most helpful. So your warm-up's pretty basic, pretty simple, and can be done just about anywhere. But I started out with squats,
Okay.
mostly because you already lift. Your body is used to when you lift, getting your adrenaline up, getting kind of that I'm gonna be a badass now mode on, which is kind of good for tournaments. It's kind of good to put on your badass mode for tournaments. So you'll start out with 10 squats, and when you do your squats, I want them to be like full ass to grass squats, so all the way up, all the way down.
Okay.
Getting that really good range of motion. You're about to sit and play for a while. Get your body moving. So you'll do 10 ass to grass squats. You'll do 10 shoulder rolls each direction. Just loosening things up there. Then you'll do 10 wrist rolls in each direction. So both turning out and then turning in. Yep. 10 of each direction.
Okay.
So on any given day, how tight you are is going to vary. So some days you're going to be like way the heck out here, and some days you're going to be a much smaller circle, and that's okay. With all of these exercises and with all of these stretches, you should move within whatever range of motion is available to you that day.
Okay.
And that's going to vary from day to day, and that's okay.
Oh, I think it froze.
All right. So after that brief break, we're back on track. So after you've done your ass to grass squats, your shoulder rolls, and your wrist rolls, then you're moving on to tendon glides. So that's just hand up like this. You're curling down and then back up. So like you're rolling right down your hand. So the thing about your warm-up, you might notice that I haven't put any stretches in here yet. That's because I don't want you to do a static stretch right before you play. If you think about it, playing, you're asking your hands to be contracting repeatedly. Mm-hmm. So you're about to shorten that muscle length. Why would you want to overly lengthen that muscle? That's what you want to do once things are tightened up. You want to be able to relax them and get them back to a normal and a neutral position, but you don't need to stretch them out in that particular way before you play. Instead, you want the muscle to be warm because it's active.
Right.
And then the last one you'll do is just 10 hands open, hands closed. You don't have to hold them like up near your face. They don't have to be jazz hands. They don't have to be spirit fingers. These are spirit fingers. This is just hands open and closed. You're getting as much of a stretch as your body has that day. So that's your warm-up. Pretty simple. Under 5 minutes. Can do it literally anywhere.
Okay.
Part number the second would be your break stretches. So your break is going to involve more stretching. It's also going to involve some cueing for deep breathing, which I think is going to help manage that jitteriness a little bit. So the first one is just an easy static stretch, bringing your arm across your body, stretching that middle area right between your shoulder blades. If you're finding that doesn't feel like much of a stretch, if that feels particularly loose that day, you can round your back a little bit more. So going from here to here to get more of a stretch. And you're going to want to hold this stretch for 30 seconds. Anytime you're stretching, you want to hold for 30 seconds. Otherwise, the stretch receptors in your muscles, they will be continuing to act and not allowing that muscle to relax and to stretch as much as it could.
Okay.
You'll do 30 seconds of that on each side. You'll do 10 what I call no monies because it looks like you're reaching into your pocket, taking your hands out and saying, I got no money. It's just elbows at your sides, so your elbows don't come away from your sides. Turning your palms out, pulling your shoulders back, and then turning your palms together. Yes, this is basically the sticker boobs out exercise. But the reason for that is I'm trying to get you to activate the muscles around your shoulder blades. So rather than using just your upper trap to kind of pull your shoulder blades back, instead you're using all those smaller periscapular muscles whose job it is to do that, and who should be doing the work. Your upper trap shouldn't be. So it's just deep breaths as you do it. So in and out. It's just a little bit of a reminder to slow down and open up your lungs. And then your last stretch is even more of a reminder to slow down and open up your lungs. You're going to lock your hands behind your back. You can keep your hands here, or you can turn them out, so palms facing down as opposed to palms facing in. It's here or here, whatever's more comfortable.
Okay.
Reaching back to get a stretch across your biceps, so you should feel it across here. And you're just going to take 10 what we call diaphragmatic breaths. And diaphragmatic breaths are different than regular breaths just because most of us, we breathe up into our shoulders, up into our upper chest. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But especially when you're in a situation where you're trying to tell your body, calm down, turn off fight or flight response, it's okay, things are under control. You want to be taking more time to breathe. You want to be getting more air into your lung. And more importantly, you want to be getting more oxygen to your brain. So instead of just breathing up into here, you're going to focus on breathing into your belly. So expanding both your upper and your lower rib cage. So with the stretch, with your hands locked behind you, it would look like.
Okay.
And it just forces you to slow down more than anything else. And it's just 5 breaths. It's not very long. Also, that's kind of locked together position. Your hands are pulling on each other a little bit. In all likelihood, that's going to help if you've got any of the shakes going on, because all of a sudden you're doing that static squeeze. Break is super short, should not be more than 2 minutes, kind of thing you can very easily do between sets or matches. And then the last thing for your cool down, you start out seated and then you go to standing. And I started out that way because I recognize, especially if you've got the jitters, that immediately popping up can kind of set you in a tizzy. If you're the kind of person who gets orthostatic hypotension, you might get a little dizzy when you first stand up. Or it might be that you just want a second to compose yourself before you go off and hang with friends again. Whether it's you want to compose yourself because you popped off because you won, or whether you want to compose yourself because you didn't do so great in pools. I'm betting on the first one for you, for the record. So you're going to start with 10 seated twists. You're just going to use the chair. It's already there to help you kind of pull yourself into rotation. Sorry, I got distracted.
Oh, how cute.
All right, sorry. Now resuming our regular stretching program. So you're just going to do 10 turns side to side, using the chair to help you get a little bit more of a stretch.
Okay.
And if the chair doesn't have armrests, that's still fine. You can just grab onto the seat itself. It's just 10 easy twists. Again, whatever your body has available to you at that time in terms of range of motion. So you'll do 10 twists there. You'll follow that up with a stretch for your hip flexors, because after sitting for a while, those get tight. So you'll be in a standing lunge position. So one hip forward, one hip back. Trying to push this hip forward a little bit more. Dear God, how is my cat this adorable? It's not fair. You're really trying to get that stretch across the front of your hip, opening up here, because that's the exact opposite of how you are when you're sitting, when your hip is drawn up into that position.
Okay.
And so you'll do that. And then your last stretch will be a standing QL, quadratus lumborum stretch. Your quadratus lumborum is this big rectangular muscle at the base of your spine. On most of us who sit for any amount of time, and especially on us women who tend to be in what's called anterior pelvic tilt, which is just a position that our hips sit in, doing this QL stretch is going to be really helpful to keep things from getting too tight, especially right in your low back. So if you have a door, that's excellent. If you have a corner of a wall to grab onto, that works as well. All you're going to do, and if you don't have a corner or a doorway, that's fine too. You're just going to be reaching up and over. If you've got a doorway, obviously you're able to grab on like this and kind of pull a little bit more. If you don't have the doorway, that's fine. You're just coming down to the side, really stretching across here.
Okay.
If it may take a little bit of experimenting to figure out where the best spot for you is. So you may have to twist a little bit forward. You have to twist a little bit backward. For me, I have to twist a little forward and come to the side to get this stretch to hit where I really want it to, which is right there.
Okay.
You'll do 30 seconds on each side. Again, this is super short. This is the kind of thing that you could do it in 2 minutes, compose yourself, and then move on with your life. It is not designed to be disruptive. It should be something that can easily and quickly fit into the rest of your tournament scheme. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions about all of that? Because that was a lot.
No, it's pretty simple.
Okay. So the other thing that I included in your routine, especially because you'd specifically asked for it, was some postural exercises. I made some recommendations about stuff you can do at the gym, variations on rows, lat pull downs are an important one. And then I've got the kind of, they're definitely PT exercises, which is why I thought they might require some pictures as opposed to just me describing them. But I'll demo them here in case other people want to do them as well. First one is scapular retractions, which I'm going to show without my jacket on because my jacket is large and bulky and you can't see things clearly through it. And I'm probably going to lose audio for a second because I have to turn all the way around.
Okay.
All right, there we go. Camera sees me. So the motion is just, again, it's kind of the best cue that I give to my female patients to stick your boobs out because that's the motion. And that tends to get us to avoid kicking in this because it's not a lift up and back. It's not you're not military on parade. You're just trying to pinch a pencil on your spine or stick your boobs out, whichever you prefer. Guys, you can stick your boobs out too. It's fine. Boobs are for everyone. The next one on this list of postural exercises is decidedly less sexy sounding. It's a cervical chin tuck. So what you're doing is you're working on getting out of this posture and coming into neutral again. In order to get there, we're working on the deep neck flexor muscles, which means we over-exaggerate that motion. So you're not just coming back to neutral. You're, in fact, giving yourself a double chin. So if you're doing this right, you're going to look really silly, but it should look like.
Okay.
Feel free to quote Master of Disguise while you do it, because it always reminds me of the "Am I not turtly enough for the turtle club" part.
I love that.
I did include no monies in here as well, and a lying down version of that spine stretch that I showed you.
Okay.
Then the other one in here that I really highly recommend, planks. Planks are great for posture.
Oh, I hate planks.
Nobody likes planks. So there's a lot of things you can do to make planks mildly more entertaining. I'm not going to say they make them fun because that's just wrong, but they make them more entertaining at least. So you can do planks with your elbows on a Bosu ball. You can do planks with your feet on a Bosu ball. You can do planks where you're tapping your shoulder to occupy the time. The cat's tapping my shoulder now. You can do planks where you're sliding one foot in and out. You can do planks where you're going up and down from forearms to hands. All those are slightly harder, but they're also less boring.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, actually, so I splurged on this. This was my splurge last month. I bought this. It's like a little platform you can put your phone on, and it uses the phone's gyroscope to like play mini games while you're doing a plank. So like you have to like move the plank into different positions.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like I want to say it was like 130, which is probably more than I should have spent on it because it's really just an app and a plastic board. But like, look, it makes planks less boring.
That sounds fun, actually.
Yeah, I'm on board with gamifying exercise.
Yeah.
So the link to the postural exercise program that I sent you, it does include videos as well.
Okay.
So if you ever want a video instead of just a photo demo, that's available. And certainly if you ever have any questions about any of this, you're always welcome to reach out to me. Even after the whole Exo Academy thing, after your cycle ends, I'm always here to answer questions.
Awesome.
All right. Anything else I can do for you?
No, I think you covered everything.
All right. In that case, go forth and kick ass.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye, you too.